In the battle of the most affordable meal kit delivery services, which one is the winner? EveryPlate or Dinnerly? Let's talk about it. Hey, how's it going? This is Owen, and in today's video, we're doing a comparison of Dinnerly and EveryPlate. These are two of the absolute most affordable meal kit delivery services you can find online, and we're gonna talk about how they're similar, which, to be honest, it's a lot of stuff, and then we're gonna figure out who should get EveryPlate and who should get Dinnerly. If you find this video at all helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot of good stuff you're gonna wanna see, so make sure you hit that button. And also down below in the description, we should have some codes for you. Pretty much every meal kit delivery service has a very generous intro offer, and these two are no exception. And if you're curious, just go take a look down there. So I spent an entire week with both EveryPlate and Dinnerly, and I have a really good idea of what they're all about. And spoiler warning, these two services are incredibly similar. So let's start talking about that. The first thing we want to talk about is pricing. These services are by far the most affordable ones that I have tested thus far. You're looking at about $5 per serving with both Dinnerly and EveryPlate. So it can be kind of confusing because these meal kit delivery services obviously want to advertise their lowest price. So when they say $5 per serving, that means that there's gonna be 2 to 4 servings per meal. So really you're looking at about 10 bucks a meal, which is still much more affordable than some of its competitors. For example, Blue Apron is gonna be around $12 per serving, so $24 a meal. So you're saving more than half with EveryPlate or Dinnerly. There might be some other meal kit services out there that are similarly priced. I haven't tested them yet. Hopefully I will soon. But either way, these are the absolute most affordable ones that I have tested. The next thing we need to talk about is the packaging and the whole unboxing process. I harp on packaging a lot in these videos. You might not think it's too important, but I think it is, because one of the main value propositions of a meal kit delivery service is cutting down on food waste, because you're getting only the exact amount of food that you need for each recipe. So for example, there's been certain recipes that I've wanted to try out from a cookbook, and you need like 3 stalks of celery, but they only sell them in the big bags, and then I wind up with some rotten celery in my fridge, which isn't what you want. And if you're cutting down on food waste, you're obviously gonna wanna cut down on other waste as well. And both EveryPlate and Dinnerly are roughly the same here. The first thing I noticed when I unboxed both of these is that instead of the ingredients being packaged in either a paper bag or a plastic bag for each recipe, they're all just kind of floating in the box. This obviously cuts down on waste. It's obviously also gonna cut down on the price, one of the reasons they're so affordable. It is somewhat inconvenient, not gonna lie. It is really nice to just be able to grab the bag out of the fridge for the recipe that you wanna cook and have everything that you need ready to go. It's not too big a deal to just look at the recipe card and pick out all the stuff that you need to use for that recipe. Adds maybe a couple of minutes. It's just not gonna be as convenient as some others. But again, it cuts down on price and it cuts down on waste, which I think is probably worth it overall. Which leads me to my next point of comparison, and that's gonna be the instruction cards. One of the things I noticed immediately about Dinnerly is that the box doesn't actually have any of the recipe cards that you normally expect from a meal kit delivery service. They actually send you PDFs in an email, and that's where you're gonna be able to find all the instructions for the recipes. EveryPlate does have some really nice quality instruction cards that I found to be very easy to follow and very thorough, with nice big photos for every single step. So I think EveryPlate gets a bit of an edge here because I personally enjoy having the actual physical card to help me while I'm cooking. Although, because Dinnerly has digital instruction cards, that also cuts down on waste. According to Dinnerly's website, they are 100% carbon offset. I'm not entirely sure what that means in real terms. It could just be a marketing gimmick, but I do think that they go to great lengths to make sure that their stuff is as eco-friendly as possible. I did find the digital recipe cards for Dinnerly to be very easy to follow. The only issue I found is that sometimes when you're cooking, your hands can get kind of dirty. Like you might get some oil on them, or you're handling raw meat and you don't wanna touch your phone. And a lot of times you're gonna have to zoom in on your phone to actually read the instructions. So I wound up having to wash my hands quite a bit while preparing Dinnerly, which isn't the worst thing, but again, just not as convenient as some others. One place where I think Dinnerly gets a pretty significant edge over EveryPlate is just the amount of recipes you have to choose from every single week. You have roughly 17 to 20 different recipes with EveryPlate every week, and then you should have 40 or more with Dinnerly every week. You're just gonna have more variety on a weekly basis if you are a Dinnerly subscriber as opposed to an EveryPlate subscriber. From the recipes that I tasted, all of them were shockingly good for being so affordable. The buffalo chicken penne dish that I had from EveryPlate was fantastic, and it was a bit more elevated than something I would probably make at home. Then all the dishes from Dinnerly were also quite good, maybe a little bit more simplistic in comparison to EveryPlate, but I had nothing to complain about. And one thing I do want to mention with both EveryPlate and Dinnerly is that in comparison to other meal kit services I've tested, they require you to have a bit more stuff in your pantry to prepare these recipes. With a meal kit service like Home Chef or Blue Apron, for example, you will pretty much only need some kind of cooking oil, salt, and pepper to complete the dish. With Dinnerly and EveryPlate though, sometimes they will require you to use your own butter or vinegar or an egg, something like that. It's honestly not that big a deal because for the most part, people have that stuff in their kitchen pretty much all the time. I know I do. It's just something to keep in mind when you're choosing recipes. Maybe take a look at the recipe card itself and make sure that you have what it's asking of you. Overall, really good, and this was quite easy to put together despite it having a lot of moving parts. So that leaves us with the question, who should think about getting Dinnerly and who should think about getting EveryPlate? And if I'm being honest, this comparison is really hard to do because they are both so similar. I'd say if you're looking for an affordable meal kit, maybe you haven't really tried one before and you're really interested in the idea of one, but you don't want to spend a bunch of money on your first box, then I'd really say you could go with either one. I'd say if you're maybe interested in the idea of a meal kit delivery service and you want to try one out, but you don't really want to spend a lot of money, you honestly can't go wrong with either one. You're gonna have more weekly options with Dinnerly, which is great, but with EveryPlate, you are gonna have some better instructions. And I do think, at least in my opinion, the meals I had with EveryPlate were a bit fancier if that's something you're interested in. But either way, super affordable meal kit delivery services that are plenty tasty. And at least as of when I'm recording this video, the intro offer that you can get with Dinnerly and EveryPlate is the exact same. Make sure you look down below in the description if you're curious about it. As of right now, you can get your first week with either service for only $1.25 a serving, which at this point is cheaper than going to the grocery store. But what do you think? Would you try Dinnerly first or EveryPlate first, or not at all? Write us down below in the comment section. We'd love to get your thoughts. And what are you looking for in a meal kit delivery service? Are you trying to find the most premium ingredients, the most interesting recipes, or do you just want something quick and simple? We'd love to get your thoughts on that as well. If you found this video at all helpful or interesting, make sure you give it a thumbs up and you subscribe to the channel. We've got tons of videos that you're gonna wanna watch. But that's enough for me. This is Owen with CNET Home. I'll see you in the next one.